Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the sixth and last module of our course, Unlocking the Potential of Biotechnology in Food Production, a course offered by Obreal Global and the Federal University of Agriculture in Nigeria. I'm very happy to be with you after 6 synchronic sessions where we have assessed the different aspects and dimensions of biotechnology. And today we will go to a very interesting topic which deals with biotechnology and management of agricultural waste. The idea of this module is to understand the role of biotechnology in the management and valorization of agricultural waste, understanding how biotechnological techniques can be leveraged to convert agricultural byproducts and residues into valuable resources. And we will do this in the hands of two experts, one from Peru and one from Argentina. Professor Greti Kelly is here today with us. She is biologist, magister in food technology and degree in philosophy from the doctoral program in biological sciences and engineering from University of Agriculture La Molina in Peru. She's a recognized researcher by CONICET, RENACIT, fellow of the National Academy of Science in Peru, and member of Peru Biotech. Thank you, Professor Greti, for being today with us. It's a pleasure. And we also have today Roland Koche, the General Manager of Dervinsa, main leader of the Upcycling Alliance between the company and all the actors in the region that are somehow connected with Dervinsa and its sustainability goal. This company is based in Mendoza, Argentina. Thank you very much, Roland, and also Federico Uriwan from the company for being today with us. In a complementary way, the professor will give the theoretical background and all the research techniques and literature review on the subject, while Roland and Federico from Dervinsa will give a practical case, a case study on how a company is effectively managing agricultural waste. Thank you to all our audience that is here with us from many different countries. I'm already reading your origins from Côte d'Ivoire and many other countries. Thank you for being here. And please, I will give the floor to Professor Greti. You have your time now to illustrate us with your knowledge. Let me insist that all the material will be uploaded on the training platform, this video, the PowerPoint presentations, and also some learning materials the experts have defined that will be useful for you to get a deeper knowledge on this subject. If you are ready, Professor, we are ready to learn from you.
Thank you. I want to start by thanking Jimena and the co-organizer of this course. Thank you for the kind invitation. Let me show my presentation. Of course, good morning and good evening for all. The module that I will present is biotechnology and management of agricultural waste. Agricultural waste is a renewable resource. I want to put in context two key concepts that, as my personal opinion, is very important. The first one is the bioeconomy that corresponds to the invention, development, production, and use of process and product of biological origin by using renewable resource. And by other hand, the biotechnology, that is the use of organisms, its components, or other biological systems to make product, process, and services. Actually, bioeconomy is driven by research and innovation. Is a very important issue from the sustainable growth. I think the key for the success of bioeconomy model is the innovation. Of course, it is supported, strongly supported by biotechnology. Bioeconomy works at the level of two producing systems. One of them is, of course, the agriculture. We call them agro-refineries. The idea is to optimize as far as possible all the agricultural system. It implies, for example, the use of improved crops by conventional techniques or by new breeding techniques. Agriculture will move soon to the precision agriculture. We need to use adequately the fertilizers, the pesticides, and in that sense, nanobiotechnology is playing a key. It's a key opportunity to bring eco-friendly solutions for agricultural systems. Of course, these systems have a pivotal role to ensure the food supply. And in some cases, it could produce any value added through the agro industry by primary conversion of fruits, amylase crops, and others. A new production system is called biorefinery that implies the use of cells, microorganisms, biotechnology to convert the feedstock to value-added products. And in that case, it's very important the innovation and the input of the knowledge. For this production system, we will manage different technologies, tools, molecular tools like synthetic biology, nanobiotechnology, and of course, genetic engineering to improve the different microorganisms. This, that both production system will be strongly supported for biotechnology, and as I said before, it is very important the environmental sustainability. When you talk about bioeconomy, we also talk about circular bioeconomy. That means that all the waste could be transformed after the first use, could be transformed into highly valued products and could be transformed in another materials. The idea is that they will be used as long as possible. In that case, we talk about low carbon economy, and this is very important in the context of the environmental sustainability. For the biorefinery concept, we use some terms like biomass. Biomass could include agricultural crops and trees waste, wood and wood waste, plants, algae, waste from animal manures, waste from municipal residues, and other materials. But feedstock refers to the use of this biomass to produce any products. Mainly, this feedstock refers to the source of carbon to produce by biological conversion any array of chemicals. Of course, the idea is that this biomass or feedstock to affect the food production. for example, by land competition to produce agricultural waste or feedstock. And by this reason, in the course of the development of bioeconomy and biorefinery, there was a transition between first generation feedstocks like starchy crops, oleaginous crops, or crops with high sugar content that is easily to process by enzymatic hydrolysis or fermentation to produce first generation ethanol, or to produce biodiesel if the feedstock is oleaginous. But the main problem of this biorefinery is that these crops are competing with the food security for lands. No? So in that case, it's important to migrate to another sustainable system. That's why the use of lignocellulose was proposed as a new feedstock. In that case, this feedstock is the most abundant in the earth. But because the biological function in the plants, lignocellulose is a part of the cell wall, and in that case, its biological function is the mechanical support, protection, and others. That means that the chemical structure of lignocellulose is very complex, recalcitrant, and it is not easy to deconstruct cellulose or lignin by using only biological catalysis. Second generation feedstock is still convert with chemical or physicochemical treatments. And it is opposite to the environmental sustainability. But from this feedstock, we can obtain second generation ethanol. The more promising biorefineries is referred to the third generation feedstock. That includes microalgae and macroalgae. They are easily grow in any aquatic ecosystem. Also, they could grow in wastewater treatment system. They have many advantages that the autotrophy, the high content of fatty acids, and the possibility to treat this feedstock with and also through this biorefinery, we could produce biodiesel and especially biohydrogen. That I think is the biofuel for the future. At this time, as I said before, the more abundant feedstock correspond to the agricultural waste. The annual production is approximately 5 billion tons. It is composed of cereals, legumes, oil crops, sugar crops, tuber crops. Here we can see that cereals is a very important part of this waste. And from this waste, we can produce different materials, products. depending of the type of technology that we are able to use. If we want to use low technologies or intermediate technology, we can, for example, produce compost, biogas, we can produce animal feed, we can produce biogas. But if we want to multiply the value of this feedstock, we can produce more value added products through biotechnology and different molecular tools. Also, in the last year, there is a strong demand for biomaterial. This waste is a excellent raw material to produce that. In the concept of biorefinery, we focus on produce biofuels and other value-added products, but it is not the common way to use especially the food waste. We can also use food waste to produce any other products and not necessarily include biofuels. Food waste is considered as alternative feedstock by the reason. For example, we can use industrial waste derived from animal, poultry, or plant-derived waste. In the first case, excuse me, fish processing waste, that is a very important resource here in Peru and the other Latin American countries. We can produce, for example, collagen, fish protein hydrolysates, bioactive peptides, that is a very appreciated product. We can also use meat waste to produce different animal proteins. We can also produce or recover, more than produce, recover different salts like calcium carbonate, calcium oxide, and others. The same for the plant-derived waste. For example, we can obtain phenol, different chemical products like saponins, antioxidants, pigments, and all. In that case, we can just use efficient separation technology. We can use, for example, supercritical fluids. We can use solvent extraction. It is not necessary to use a conversion process. It's just most of these products are obtained directly from separation process. Again, I want to show here different products that could be obtained from food waste. That includes protein, sugars, polyphenols, polysaccharides, organic acid, enzymes, biopolymers, organic compounds, probiotics, and others. In the case of the lignocellulose feedstock, it is necessary to treat them. And as I said before, it's a not easy task. We need to combine sometimes chemical, physical procedures to deconstruct the lignocellulosic biomass. But the idea is to use only biological process, and in that case, we need to to optimize on fermentation process, we need to bioprospect different bacterial or fungal strains to treat the different agricultural ways. We can use strategies like co-culture of bacteria or fungi, and of course we can improve this type of strain by using genetic engineering, filter system, and others. So in my opinion, there are many issues or aspects that we need to improve. And in that case, all these alternatives to improve the biorefineries performance is strongly dependent of the knowledge of the science. For example, if we will talk about feedstock treatment, we need enzymes. At this time, the cost of the biological treatment is very high. Inversion to produce these enzymes is also very high, but also there is no enough enzymes or not efficient enzymes to complete the treatment. So in that case, we need to search more enzymes, we need to obtain better enzymes, and we need to find novel enzymes. For this goal, we should use metagenomic or bioprospecting in different ecosystems like tropical forests, that sea, that Antarctic ecosystem. Actually, in any ecosystem that we can recover microorganisms. Also, for this treatment that have the advantage to work in mild condition of temperature, pH, and others, we need to improve the enzymatic performance. In that case, we can obtain native enzymes and make accelerate evolution. That technique is called directed evolution. This molecular tool will add to give more enzyme and to be possible to feedstock treatment by technology, enzyme technology. In that case of the biological conversion to produce more value-added products, we need first to improve yield, es decir, to break down the parsimony that is a fundamental characteristic of living organisms. We need to improve this strain. We need to give the possibility that this strain could use different carbon sources and produce different products. We need to make an input of new metabolic pathway, and we could obtain that by metabolic engineering. And of course, we can use genome edition to produce very efficient microorganisms for biological conversion. In my personal opinion, knowledge-based innovation should be supported by these two strategies. The first is the system biology that includes a holistic landscape of the living organism. Generally, we use functional genomes, genomic techniques for this goal. And it tools will allow us to know all the possibility to use the living organism. By this way, also is more easy to optimize the pre-existence of a product or process, and I call them incremental innovation. Just optimize the existing processes or products. And by the other hand, synthetic biology will offer us a reductionistic point of view of the living organism. We can choose any modular process in the cell. We can choose any molecule, any gene in the cell. We call them biobricks, and recodify the cell to produce new products, new service, for example, biosensor and all. And in that case, we are talking about disruptive innovation. So let me show some work, some research that we are going in this time. First of all, I will using lignocellulose biomass to produce nucleic enzymes, to produce nanocellulose crystals, and to produce mycelium composites. For this, we are for several years we are looking for a new strains to produce different kinds of cellulase. And by the other hand, we are working on biopress optimization by using molecular techniques. The idea was to replace the chemical treatment by biological treatment. In that case, we choose this strain, Trametes polyzona. It is a basidiomycete. And we use a the wood waste. Chemical treatment is the classic with alkaline treatment or oxidant treatment. But we want to use also the metabolic capability of Trametes polyzona. Here we can see the microphotograph with showing the growth of the mycelia in the wood particles. The composition of the wood was driven by different enzymes that include cellulase, lactase, and ligninase. So we want to know what kind of enzymes are producing this degradation. For this, we perform the sequencing of the Trametes genomes. We have purified some of the main lipase in that case, and we identified at least 9 promising lipase that could be used for treatment of the wood waste. But also we can just use the mycelium and the wood particles to produce or to prepare this kind of material that is very elastic, but also strongly resistant. This is a kind of raw material for different applications, but also we can produce a structured bioplastic, which consists in the mix of the natural polymer with cellulose nanocrystals. This is the preparation step. for this material. Also, we are constructing cell factories to consolidate bioprocesses in the lignocellulose, the construction and for producing ethanol. In that case, we have introduced different cellulose genes from Aspergillus into Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This genes will give to Saccharomyces the capability to degrade cellulose and of course produce ethanol in one step. And also we have introduced genes for the pentose phosphate pathway to also increase the yield of ethanol, in that case by converting pentose to ethanol. Also in Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Also, we are working in protein engineering of cellulase to obtain more efficient enzymes. And gene edition of the different strains that we have collected in tropical forest with the idea to increase their capability to produce cellulose. And I think this is all of I have to show you today. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor, for your distinguished intervention. We have an overview of agricultural waste and also food waste and the different techniques and approaches they are being used worldwide together with your research results. So thank you for that. I'm sure all the audience is very happy and willing to learn more about each of them. So now in the concept of biorefinery that you mentioned, we are very glad to have a concrete example, a company example of a biorefinery from my place, from Mendoza. So I'm doubly happy. Thank you, Roland, for being here with us and complementing Professor Gretti's intervention and giving the audience a concrete sense of what is a biorefinery, what are you doing, which are the challenges, and what are you expecting for the future with the life cycle assessment and trying to contribute to the world sustainability. The floor is yours, Roland.
Thank you very much, Jimena. Thank you very much, Eloy, for the opportunity of being here. And we are very glad to have the opportunity to share what we do here in Mendoza. Let me share a presentation. I'm going to be using maybe the first 10 minutes to talk a little bit about what we do here, but I also would like to spend some time giving you some tips about the process that we have been learning in the last years and some mistakes we did and some good things that we have done that can help you in this road of becoming a successful biorefinery. Well, the name of the company is Dervinsa. Dervinsa means something like byproducts from the wine industry. We are a biorefinery. Basically, what we do is the upcycling of the byproducts that comes from the wine industry here in Argentina. We have the wine industry is very important in this region in Mendoza, and we have a surface of around 750,000 square kilometers of extension of the wine industry, and around 90% of the byproducts comes to the biorefinery that we have here. We have been working 87 years doing the same. Fortunately, the world is more focused right now in what we do, which is trying to create value out of the waste of the wine industry. But we understand that we are part of the chain. So we can only be successful if the wine industry is successful here in Argentina. Today, our main goal is to improve this partnership that we have with the wine industry and try to help the wine industry in solve these environmental challenges and improve the use of the waste and improve the creation of value out of all these biomaterials that we have here. Basically, if the nature gives you the grape, around 85% of the grape is juice, and that juice has a very fine use, which is wine. But the rest of the grape normally is wasted in many parts of the world. So what we do is to take all that nature gives us and try to create value out of the last part. As important as knowing what you want to do is knowing what you don't want to do. And we have a definition for our company that we like to find bio-based solutions, using biology solutions for environmental challenges of any bio industry here in this Cuyo and Mendoza area. We try to improve the environmental performance and the sustainability of the Argentinian wine, but we have also been working with tomato, with garlic, with dry fruits, with any kind of waste materials from any other companies here in this area. Our focus is in the creation of circular value. We believe in that the nature is very wise in finding the use for the second use for everything that is created in nature. But the man has been very, very creative for the first use, but not very creative in the second use. So there's a lot to do in all the waste from many companies, from many industries in the world. As an example, here in Mendoza, we have around 200,000 metric tons of discarded organic material. In total, in Argentina, there's around 45 million metric tons of second generation discarded organic material. So it's huge. And the possibility of create value out of that is really, really big. We work in upcycling. Upcycling is a word that has become very trendy in the last years, but it's basically what we do is we try to take something that is in the waste of another industry and we try to create something with value out of that. And we have defined ourselves that our products will be bio products from 100% natural origin. But basically, this is very similar to mining. When you go to the garbage cans of any companies here and you try to do mining out of what they have there, there's a lot of value normally, and the only way of taking that value out is using science. As I told you before, out of the 200,000 metric tons of raw materials that we have, these discarded organic materials, we produce around 8,000 to 10,000 metric tons of our bioproducts. As you can see, it's very, very diluted, the richness inside this material. Only around 4 to 5% of what comes in the raw material is the final product that we can process. So this is a massive logistic challenge to move everything and to create value out of that. The three main processes that we produce out of the bioproducts of the wine industry is tartaric acid, which is a natural acidificant used even for wines, but in many other industries like Coca-Cola or cookies, even construction, many other uses, but mostly for the wine industry. We produce wine alcohol out of the pomace of the wine and out of the lees of the wine also. And we separate the grape seeds to produce oil out of that. As you can see, nobody plants grapes to produce oil. This is a second generation oil. Is trying to get all the value that is in the byproducts that we are wasting today. On top of that, we produce around 20,000 metric tons of organic compost. As I told you before, there's a very important part of the mass that we are receiving that it doesn't contain all the richness that we can take out. So there's a second use for our effluents, which is produce organic compost. And this is very important because for the wine industry, they need this compost to cover the vines. If they don't have the compost, they will use pomace, and they will be losing all the value inside the pomace. The tartaric acid and the alcohol will be lost. So it's very important to help them to have the solution for that problem, and that solution has to include how can we take all together the most richness out of these raw materials. Around 95% of the energy that we use in our plant comes from biomasses. We use part of the biomass that comes from the wine industry, and we also collect other biomasses like the cutting of the trees here in Mendoza, and we have many other. We have been positioning ourselves as the company that they call when they have any kind of biomaterial they will waste. So the most basic thing that you can do with that is burn it. And if you burn it, you have a very cheap energy. So we try to use, when we don't have a better solution, we try to use this biomass to produce our own energy. The water for our process all goes to a forest, eucalyptus forest that is located next to the plant. No water goes outside from the plant. We treat all our effluents, and we use that effluents for this forest. As you know, Mendoza is a desert, so there's a lot of value in having this forest. But it's very interesting to know to look at the numbers in terms of CO2. Because using biofuels, using biomass for our process saves around 7,000 metric tons of CO2 emissions. And the whole forest, which is the biggest forest in eucalyptus forest in all Mendoza, only takes 1.2 thousand metric tons. So there's a lot of more value in trying to replace fossil fuels for biomass energy in terms of helping for the CO2 issue in the world. Finally, we are doing exactly the same that we have been doing for the last 87 years, but now we have a name for most of the things that we do, and it's the SDGs. I think most of the things that we do here are in line with the SDGs, and we have finally a name, and we have finally the world paying attention for this kind of issues. So these kind of companies are very important, but are very important in the moment that are part of a bigger chain, because there's no creation of value in the byproducts if there is no byproducts. So it's very important that you have to understand that you are part of the chain. And that's why we are pushing for the Natural Upcycling Alliance. We have been working with some wineries here and some other actors in the region, because we're trying to put in mind that we are all part of a big chain. And the only way that we can be successful is if all the chain is successful. So our story about what we do with the bioproducts, all the creation of value that we do out of the garbage from other companies, has to be used by these companies to talk about a story about how we take out everything that nature is already giving us. And this is a big part of a chain. It's not something only our company is doing. That's why we create this Natural Upcycling Alliance. So when somebody's selling some wine in London, for example, Argentinian wine, and they ask, what do you do with their garbage? They have to be able to say that they have a strategic partner, and together we produce tartaric acid, together we produce alcohol, together we produce grapeseed oil. The only way that we can improve really the creation of value out of what the nature is already giving us is to be part of a bigger chain, because the number one use is, of course, producing wine, but there's number 2, number 3, and number 4, and we feel that our really creation of value is in there, in to find the number 2, number 3, and number 4. And then I would like to share some things or some ideas that we have been learning in the last couple of years, that we have been trying to use this space in the wine industries. Please, first, we think that it's very important that we have to work in collaboration. We don't have an investment in R&D in our company. because there's so much R&D in the world that the previous presentation was a lot of R&D, and we are a company. I think you have to do what you are best doing. R&D should be in the hands of the universities and scientists, and it's our space is try to create value out of that R&D. And for that, you have to tend bridges between scientists and companies. You have to understand that you don't have to do everything. We are very good, but for very little things. And there's many things that there's so many people better than us. So it's important to work together in order to get the best creation of value out of that. The biomasses are almost all the time free. So it's very important when you visit a company or when you are doing some kind of research, go to the waste of that company, because there's a lot of value there. There's normally a lot of value, and to produce something out of that is normally the raw material will be free. Try to work with your door open. That is another thing that we have learned, because there is no value in keeping secrets. Normally, when we receive visits and we show everything that we are doing, all the conversation turns much more rich, and then you have improvements, not only using only the brains that you have inside of your companies, you use the brains of everything that is surrounding you. So it's very important to work with your door open. Involve as many people as you can. It's good to have from different backgrounds. All the people that makes you uncomfortable normally is the people that brings different points of view. So it's important not only talk to the people that is in the same line of mind that you are. It's always important to have to talk to scientists, to talk to economists, to talk to found VCs, or to talk to the environment in general. Because the people tend to talk to the people they like or talk inside of the companies, and they are missing a lot because of that. Focus always in what you think you do best, and leave the things that you are not good at in the hands of the other people. That is another advice that we would give, because it has been a big change for us, and it was very successful. And understand that you are always part of a chain. You are never alone in the world. You cannot be successful if the surrounding environment is not successful. So if your chain is healthy, you will be successful. So you have to work for the chain. So you have to work for the partner. You have to work for the raw material producer, and you have to work for the final customer of the people that you are selling. It's all a big chain, and the only way of creating value is if that big chain is successful. So it's very important that you spend a lot of your time, or an important part of your time, tending that bridges. If you are a company, go to the universities, talk to the scientists, open your mind. Not all the solutions are going to be inside of your company. So tending that bridges is very important as a company, and it's very important for the scientists as well. It's not enough if you're doing all these researches and you don't spend time talking to the companies, going to fairs, sharing your knowledge. This is very important. I think there's no missing science. There's missing connections between companies and science. And so the companies have to be able to create value out of the science that today is in the world. To me, R&D has to be in the hands of the scientists, not in the hands of the companies. But the creation of value out of that science has to be in the hands of the company. So this is our main goal, to be able to create value out of the science that is already been done. Finally, this is the last part. We get in contact. Many people call us because they have byproducts from many different business, and they say, okay, this is the waste from the apple juice industry here in the southern Argentina. What can we do with that? They say, I have no idea. Let's take a sample. Move it to the university, ask what is the property, and they say, no, it has malic acid, it has this, that. Okay, what can you do with that? They have no idea. This is part of the company. I have to take all that knowledge back and try to find a market for that. So this going onwards and backwards and onwards and backwards is the only way to create value, in my opinion. Well, thank you very much again, and I hope the experience can be helpful in any way.
Thank you very much, Roland, for your presentation, for describing the company, but mainly for giving these very wise advices. Let's consider that we have a lot of young researchers in our audience. We have directors of research networks from Africa, for example, that are joining us. So I really think your insights and advices have been very useful for them to open their minds, to understand we need to focus on what we are good and connect with people that are good in different subjects and just try to change together the things we are committed to. Let me start with one question for you, Roland, and then we will continue with Professor Greti. You give some information on this, but I would like to do a double click on the idea of a life cycle assessment. Have you performed a life cycle assessment on your activity, including the logistic dimension you mentioned, and this ratio input-output that you said it was 4-5%? Can you give like a general idea on this with the life cycle assessment?
Yes, well, this is something new for us. We have been working, as I think, the last year in the life cycle assessment. First, we wanted to understand how is the life cycle of our products, because we have a responsibility over our waste. I mean, so we start trying to find where our bags are going, and try to find out where the end of the life of the bags is. And this is from our final product, and try to work collaboratively with some families that work in that business to collect them and create value out of that. But mainly, I think in terms of the cycle of the grape, which is what is more important for us, using the Natural Cycling Alliance, the main idea is that you will be able to follow all your, as a winery, you will be able to follow what is the destination of the garbage that you are producing, or the byproducts that you are leaving behind. And in the perfect world, if we are successful, you will be able to say, okay, this produced this much tartaric acid, this much alcohol, and this is part of the creation of value out of the grape that it was part of my life cycle. It's something that is very new for us. There's a lot of work to do. This is something that we're just starting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. And you are both receiving compliments through the chats. Thank you for that. And I have a question for Professor Greti, a very specific one, but mainly maybe you can give us some insights on other sectors. One of our participants is asking how are egg processing wastes used for making polyester resins, and if you have some information on production of polyester resins from eggs or from other sources, you can give us some information on that.
Yeah, actually, this is not a biological conversion. It's just to mill the egg cover to produce a nanoparticle, and that material is used as a filling material for mix with a specific resin.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor. And maybe one last general comment that I would like to answer both of you, and of course, if Federico is willing to do it, which is your opinion or your knowledge on which are the bioproducts destination. What I mean is, are we producing from bio-waste bioproducts that are really useful or that have a long life, which is the approach on which to produce derived from the bio-waste? I don't know if my question is clear, but I'm in this circular economy logic. I'm worried on which are the decisions, which is the origin of our decisions on what to produce, even if it's from agricultural waste, if it's a good use, what we are producing. Can you give us some insights on that, some opinion? Any of you? Otherwise, it's something we can reflect.
I'm sorry, what, Fede, for yours or for me? Okay,
just for you, I want you, after you, I want to highlight some things you already said, but I think this question is for you.
Okay, no, I think the market is talking. I want to share another experience. There was a scientist that says, "Oh, my compost is the best compost in the world. Why nobody is buying the compost? The customers are very stupid." And this is the totally wrong approach. I think you have to listen to the final customer first. Then there's the customer has an opinion, has an idea of the thing, how it works, and it's your job to move what you are doing to the final market. So you don't have to produce whatever you want. You have to understand the market, and you have to produce something that creates value. If the cost of producing something, well, for example, we are working now in natural leather. If the cost of producing natural leather is 10 and the market is willing to pay 1, the world is better if there is no natural leather. If the cost is 10 and the world is willing to pay 20, then you are really creating value, because the world, this 20 that you will be paid, it was a lot of effort for the people that is going to be buying to produce that 20. So for the really creation of value, you can see when somebody with a lot of work and their money goes and buy whatever you're selling. So it's very important to have a connection with the market. And normally what happens, you have to start with one idea, and you have to be very open-minded to switch that idea to what the market is asking, because it's almost never is exactly what you had in the first moment. So this going onwards, backwards, is also with the market.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's a double challenge, because we need to look to the market to understand what they are looking for, and then check on our agricultural waste if that waste is able to produce to respond to that opportunity. Considering the agricultural waste is located in some area, this gives us a double challenge, right? Fede, if you want to add something, or
This is
Professor
just
Bretti.
one second. Just first of all, say thank you very much to share your knowledge and your time together, wishing to create a better world. It is not a whole true, but in our experience, in our journey, knowledge, technology, science, money, funding, infrastructure, and equipments are crucial for the solutions we are aiming for. But just as important, if not more so, are the cultural assets or practices that makes our ecosystem healthier and stronger, like trust, collaboration, transparency, accountability, and most of all, the ability to think and act together. So this is something important that we wish to share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Federico and Roland. Professor Gretti, if you want to give some last comment or last message to the audience, you are very welcome.
Thank you, Jimena. I think that Roland and Federico are very big in the common opinion. Actually, only driving for the market demand, and it is necessary to be clear in that aspect.
Thank you for that, and thank you all you three for being today with us in this last session of the course. There are as many comments that are very happy with the information and with the energy you have shared, the motivation. We've tried in these 6 modules to give a brief overview of biotechnology, understanding the potential, the challenges, the risk, and to see the opportunities we have with the collaboration between companies, universities, and the government. That's why we have invited different actors from different countries, from different activities to share their knowledge. I'm very grateful for all you three and all the other speakers that have shared with us these 6 sessions. The material will all be available on our training platform from today for 2 weeks more. All attendants will be able to listen, to share these videos and learn from the material we have uploaded. You already know we have very short exams after each module. They are devoted to check on your knowledge, even if you have, of course, many other sources. We want to check if what we've done has been useful, in the same logic as Roland just mentioned, to check if the audience is satisfied with this, to think on new courses and new strategies for collaboration. We are an interregional organization trying to push from education for global changes in sustainability and in many other areas. So thank you all for being here. Have a very nice day. We are looking forward for our next edition of this course and many other projects that are coming. Thank you again, Professor Gretti, Roland, and Federico, and all our audience.